Hello, my name is Mathilde. I'm French and I'm passionate about fashion. Bienvenue dans mon podcast. In this episode, we continue our analysis on global fashion capitals. And today, we're going to Milan. Not to look at fashion as style, but as a fully structured luxury system. Interesting, right? So, it is during the 70s that Milan became home of Italy's most important fashion houses, and therefore the ideal place to promote Italian fashion. In fact, fashion became a true cultural industry. Clothing became an expression of freedom and self-identification. Milan was the only city in Italy with the necessary tools to properly promote Italian fashion brands and give visibility to the fashion industry. These were also the year of birth of Milan Fashion Week, the first edition of which was held under a circus tent near Milan. Milan is a city often associated with elegance, tailoring, and luxury heritage, but if we step back from our aesthetic, a different question emerges. You understand well, that's the time for your question. So, what actually defines Milan's power in global fashion system? Is it A, creative experimentation and visual identity? B, industrial coordination and luxury infrastructure? Or C, cultural storytelling and media influence? Well, don't worry, we will come back to it at the end of this episode. Milan has a system before style. Let's begin. This city doesn't operate primarily as a creative laboratory. It functions as an organized production and coordination system. Its foundation lies in North Italy's industrial landscape, particularly in Lombardy, where textile manufacturing, leather production, and tailoring tradition developed over centuries. What matters here is not artisanal heritage itself, but how it has been structured. Milan translates craft into an industrial logic. Crazy, right? And this produced a specific model, a vertically integrated luxury system. In practice, this means that the collection is not only conceived creatively, it is already aligned with the production capacity, the distribution strategy, and the international commercialization from the earliest stages. Remember that. Let's go deeper into another important part of this podcast, designer as economic architect. You might know that in Milan, designers operate at the intersection of aesthetics and system design. They do not only define silhouettes, they shape scalable luxury identities. I'm pretty sure that you ever heard about Giorgio Armani. He profoundly transformed tailoring. By eliminating rigidity, he introduced a form of fluidity that transcends style, an aesthetic capable of circulating between cultures, generations, and markets. And behind this apparent simplicity lies a carefully structured logic. Durable pieces, easy to adapt, and consistent over time. Armani lays the foundation for quiet luxury, designed to last and to be widely disseminated. I also really wanted to talk about another powerful designer. Have you ever seen The Devil Wears Prada? Well, I do, and actually it's one of my favorites. At first glance, it's a story about fashion, power, and impossible standards. But what if Prada was never really about clothes? With Prada, we enter in another dimension. Personally, I think that I can tell that Miuccia Prada played with opposites. The beautiful Indian styling, the minimalism and the eccentricity, fashion and intellect. This tension is what makes Prada so distinctive. It catches your attention, but more importantly, it holds it. Well, in a saturated market, standing out visually is no longer enough. Prada creates something deeper, a form of intellectual engagement. The brands build desirability through reflection as much as aesthetics, transforming culture itself into an economic advantages. I don't know if you notice, and if it's the case, don't hesitate to tell me, but across these cases, a pattern can emerge. Milan doesn't standardize aesthetics, it standardizes brands' operability. With this in mind, let's talk about commercial performance as industry logic. In Milan, fashion is structured around one core principle. It's called commercial performance. I'm pretty sure I already defined this term, but if you're new on the podcast, it refers to the capacity of a brand to translate creative identity into sustainable economic value. Listen to that. According to Confindustria Moda, Italy accounts for around 40% of the global luxury goods production, making it the leading manufacturing hub for the industry.
Wow.
Yes, I know, and they are directly influencing what will be produced and distributed worldwide. We can say that in Milan, a collection moved immediately from winery to market strategy. Guys, before I came back to my question and check if you're right, let's clarify a few key terms used in this episode. First, value chain. It's the full sequence of activities required to design, produce, and deliver a product to market. Then, scalability. It's the capacity of a system or brand to expand without losing efficiency or coherence. Let's finish with traceability. It's the ability to track materials and processes across the entire supply chain. Well, it seems that it's time for you to check your answer. The question was, what defines Milan's power in fashion? The correct answer was B, industrial coordination and luxury infrastructure. And that concludes today's episode of 5 Minute Fashion is Your Business. Milan demonstrates a specific form of power in luxury industry, not based on visibility but on structure. And in today's global fashion economy, structure often determines longevity. I hope to see you in another episode.